I begin with the Sutras of Atisha. Atisha Dipankar has been a Tibetan Buddhist master, a man of great insight. The meditation this morning is two witnesses. This is one of the sutras, the first sutra of Atisha. Two witness is the first sutra of Atisha. The sutra says, grasp the principle of two witnesses. It is one of the most important sutras. Indeed, it is one of the many fundamentals of inner alchemy. Let it sink deep in your heart. It can transform you. It can give you a new birth, a new vision, a new universe. It has two meanings. Both meanings have to be understood. The first meaning, there are two kinds of witnesses. One kind is the people that surround you. You are constantly aware that you are being watched and witnessed. This creates self-consciousness in you, hence the fear. When you are on a stage facing a big crowd, actors, poets and orators feel it. It is not only the beginners who feel, but even those who have wasted their whole life in acting. They too face it. When they come on the stage, a great trembling arises in them, a great fear as to whether they will be able to make it or not. With so many eyes watching you, you are reduced to an object. You are no more a subjectivity. You have become a thing, an object, and you are afraid because they may not appreciate you. They may not feed your ego, they may not like you, and they may reject you as well. Now you are in their hands. You are reduced to an independent slave. Now you have to walk in such a way that you will be appreciated. You have to buttress their egos so that in response you can hope they will buttress and support your ego as well. When you are with your friends, you are not so afraid. You know them, they are predictable, and you depend on each other. But when you face the anonymous crowd, more fear arises. Your whole being trembles, and your whole ego is at stake that you can fall. You can fail. Who knows what may happen? Your success is not guaranteed. This is the first kind of witness. Others are witnessing you, and you are just a beggar. This is the situation in which millions of people live. They live for others. Hence they only appear to live and they do not live in reality. They are always adjusting to the needs of the others. Because they are happy only if others are happy with them. They are compromising constantly. They are selling their souls for a simple reason so their ego can be strengthened and they can become famous, well known. Have you observed something of immense value that whenever a poet, a novelist or a scientist gets a Nobel Prize, immediately after that his creativity declines. No Nobel laureate has been able to produce anything valuable compared to things that he has created before he received the award. What happens? Now you have attained the goal of the ego. There is no further to go. So there is no more need to adjust to people. Once a book becomes famous, the author dies. That is what happened with Khalil Gibran's Prophet. That is what happened with Rabindranath Tagore's Gitanjali. And that is almost the rule, not the exception. Once you are famous, you stop compromising. For what is there to compromise now? You are already famous. And when you stop compromising, people start neglecting you, ignoring you. Your whole creativity was rooted in the desire of the ego. Now the ego feels at rest, all creativity disappears. This is the situation in which 99.9% people live. You know only one kind of witness, the other. And the other is always anxiety creating. Jean-Paul Sartre rightly says the other is hell. The other does not allow you to relax because you have to constantly adjust your behavior to the needs of the others. You have to adjust yourself to the needs of your parents, the desires of your parents, your family members, husbands, wife. They all have expectations that you will behave in a particular way. The other does not allow you to relax. Why do you feel so relaxed in your bathroom or in your bathtub? It is so simply because the other is not there. While relaxing in your bathtub, if you suddenly become aware that somebody is looking at you through the keyhole, suddenly all relaxation disappears. You are tense once again. You become conscious that you are being watched. To create fear in people down the ages, the priests have been telling you that God is constantly watching you day in and day out. You may be asleep, but He never sleeps. He goes on sitting by the bed and watching. He not only watches you, instead He watches your dreams and your thoughts too. So you are not only going to be punished for your acts, but for your dreams, thoughts, desires, and all their feelings as well. The priests created great fear in people. Just think of God watching you constantly. No moment, not even a single moment is allowed when you can be yourself. That was a great strategy for reducing people to objects. Why do we hanker for attention of others? We hanker for the attention of others as we are not because we do not have the center of our being. Indeed, man is just a noise, a crowd, a house full of servants quarreling with each other because the master is absent or fast asleep. We hanker for other people's attention so that at least we can create a pseudo center. If the real is missing, at least we can depend on a pseudo center. It will give you an appearance of togetherness and it will make you a person. You are not an individual as yet. There is a difference between a person and individual. The word person comes from persona, means the mask face that you have on you. You have to behave in a particular way in front of the crowd. Individuality means your center has evolved. You are living according to your own understanding, not because how people want you to live. And that is the greatest benediction. Individuality is the fragrance of really centered being, one who knows who he is. But if you are not an individual, then at least you can be a person. You can attain personality, and personality has to be begged. Individuality is your innermost growth. It is a growth. You need not beg it from anybody else, and nobody can give you. It is your own creation. You have reached to the center, and the moment you reach to the center, something evolves out of that happening. And that is your individuality. The masters have their individuality. As an individual, they have their uniqueness. But deep within, they are floating in the ocean of the being. Innerness of each master is the same. The experience is the same. Individuality is your enfoldment or envelope. But personality can be begged. People can give it to you. In fact, only other can give it to you. If you are alone in the forest, you will not have any personality. Instead, you have an individuality, but no personality at all. If you are alone in the Himalayas, who are you? A saint or sinner? You do not bother. You do not have to impress others. Personality means you are living for the others. You have to behave in the church in a particular manner, in the society, in front of the friends in a particular manner. But in forest there is nobody to appreciate you or condemn you. There is nobody to make you famous or notorious. And there is nobody except yourself. A master is himself. He does not bother what others say about him. He lives in his own image. He is not dependent on the image of the others or someone else to tell him that he is very intelligent, he is very good looking. You look at it when your wife or any female person dresses, she is expecting someone to tell her that she is looking extremely beautiful. And if you do not tell her, she will again and again inquire, you didn't notice my makeup? Because we live in the world, we live for others. A master lives for himself. He is by himself. There is nobody to make you famous or notorious, and there is nobody except yourself. In your total aloneness, you know who you are, a sinner or a saint. Then you will know if you are a very famous person, VVIP, or just nobody. You are neither. You are neither a very important person nor nobody, because for both the other is a must. The eyes of the other are needed to reflect your personality. You are neither this nor that. You are. But you are in your reality. You are not created by others. You are as you are in your utter nudeness, authenticity. This is one of the reasons why many people thought it wise to escape from the society, go to the mountains or caves or somewhere where they are not facing the crowd. But the greatest miracle is to be in the world, to be amongst the people, but do not be affected by people. It was not really to escape from the society. It was not really against the society. And instead it was just an effort to renounce the personality. Buddha left his palace. He is not coward and he is not an escapist. So why did he leave the palace? Rabindranath Tagore has written a beautiful poem about it. Buddha left the palace for 12 years. He roamed in the forests, practiced, meditated, and day of ultimate rejoicing came. He became enlightened. Naturally, the first thing he remembered was that he had to go back to the palace to deliver the good news to the woman he had loved, to the child that he has left behind, to the old father who was still hoping that he would come back. It is so human. It touches the heart. After 12 years he returned. His father was angry, as fathers will be normally. His father could not see who he was, could not see what he had become, could not see his individuality, which was so loud and so clear. The whole world was becoming aware of it, but his father was blind to it. He was still thinking about him in terms of the personality that was no longer there, that he has renounced the day he left the palace. In fact, Buddha had to leave the palace just to renounce his personality. He wanted to know himself as he was, not what others were thinking about him. But the father was now looking into his face with the eyes of 12 years ago. He again said to Buddha, I am your father. I love you, although you have hurt me deeply and wounded me too. I am an old man, and these 12 years have been a torture for me. You are my only son, and I have somehow tried to live so that you could come back. Now you are back. Take charge of the empire. Be the king. Now let me rest. It is time for me to rest. You have committed a sin against me, and you have been almost murderous towards me. But I forgive you, and my doors are still open for you. Buddha laughed and said, Sir, be a little more aware of whom you are talking with.